Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast. As always, I am your host, Akil Stokes, Forex trader and trading coach over at Tier 1 Trading. If you guys are interested in any trading education, make sure you take advantage of our 14-day trial over at www.tier1trading.com. It gives you 14 days on the platform where you can dig into the content, interact with the community, and start taking the steps necessary to improve your trading. Of course, there's zero commitment after 14 days. Your subscription is simply deleted, and there's no auto bill or anything like that. Now, I just finished watching my Dallas Cowboys get a very hard-fought victory against the Atlanta Falcons, putting us in really the driver's seat to control our own destiny of making the playoffs. Hopefully, if Washington ends up losing and Philadelphia ends up losing today, that would be perfect. But between games, I took the opportunity to take a break, get over to the computer, check my email, and I was delighted to see that the most recent episode or edition of the always free Mastermind newsletter had arrived. Now, what is this always free Mastermind newsletter? Well, it is a free newsletter that my friend and my business partner, Jason Greystone, puts out, just giving you knowledge on so many different levels. I certainly recommend checking it out. I'll throw a link underneath this podcast so you can sign up. It's a brilliant read. It doesn't take long. And again, it hits on kind of different aspects of business, of life, of self-help, finance. It's amazing. It's always free, hence the title. But one thing he talked about in today's edition, he usually gets like a question of the week. And today's question of the week was this. He said, "Hey, Jason, I love your approach to teaching. You seem to explain things in a way that is very easy to understand. I wondered if you can help me. I have been struggling to commit to learning to trade because there always seems to be something that comes up. Even though I feel like it's not as important, I end up doing that instead of learning, right? Is this because I have my priorities mixed up? What do you say to stay on track when learning a new skill?" And he gave an answer. I'll let you guys read it, but he gave an example of when he was trying to lose weight, right? There was a point in Jason Greystone's life where he was overweight. He said he wasn't at risk of any heart disease or kidney failure, but he was at a point where he felt a little heavy. Maybe he wasn't getting the same looks from the ladies that he used to. And he decided to himself, he said, "Hey, I'm going to lose weight." And he took massive deliberate action right away. He built a gym. He cleared out space for a gym in his house, I believe his lawn. He started buying full gym equipment in bulk and basically put himself in a situation where he would have no excuses not to work out, right? We always have these excuses. I don't want to drive to the gym. It's too cold. I don't want to waste gas money, this, that, right? So he said, I'm going to get past all that by putting it right in front of me. Therefore, there's no excuse for me not using it. And then he took it one step forward, right? He posted a picture, an unsavory picture of himself on Facebook and said, "Hey guys, this is where I'm at right now. I just wanted to let you know that I'm committed to losing this much weight in this amount of time, and I'm just putting it out there." And that's something called external accountability. And for you guys that are on the platform, you know all about our accountability sessions, right? The purpose of that isn't just to share your story and introduce yourself to the traders, which is great, by the way, but it's to put kind of an outside pressure on yourself. It's to let the masses know where you're at, where you're trying to get to. That way, whenever you interact with them on a daily basis, they can help hold you accountable. And this is what Jason did. He said external accountability is like a bit like a ratchet mechanism on an extension ladder. Once you are transparent about the level you are currently at, the only way you can move is up. You cannot go back from that level. And this reminded me of really a TED Talk video that I heard the other day. I was on a very long bus trip this weekend, so I had time to do everything. And there was a trader on Twitter, or a person on Twitter, that shot me a message saying, "Hey, you should check this TED Talk out." It was by a guy named, I hope I don't butcher the name, but it was Atul Gawande. And the title of it was, "Want to get great at something, get a coach." Right? And this guy, he's a surgeon, he's a writer, and it was a very good video, presentation. I'll put the link for this below as well. It's a little bit sad, but then a little bit happy at the end. But what he talked about was basically basically hospitals in India, and how the rate, the birth rate was really, really low because they were losing so many babies. I think it was 1 out of every 20 newborns didn't make it. And it was because of very little simple things. There were trained surgeons over there, but they were doing these small things wrong. And he went on to talk about the point of coaching and really kind of, he says, do experts in your field, right? Once you are an expert in your field, do you need coaching? And it's tough because when you're an expert in your field, you kind of see yourself at the top of the ladder. Like, why would you get coaching if you're already at the top? And I know I run into that issue personally a lot too, where it's like, okay, I am a coach. I coach traders for a living, but does that mean that I should stop being coached myself? No. And that's why we always look to do continued education. I read books. I talk to other traders I look up to. I attend webinars and seminars, right? Just to, I may not learn anything, but there is the slight chance that I can do something very, very small, a little bit differently that improves. And he talks about, I'm trying to read my notes. All these podcasts are random, so I didn't plan on doing this one, but I kind of got to it. He talked about how he got to a level in his profession where he kind of felt stuck, right? He kind of plateaued. He wasn't really getting any better. He started to settle. And we see this a lot in trading where you get good, you're all fired up at the beginning, and then you settle and maybe you're not doing things with the same fire, not doing things the same way you used to. You come in and you take analyzing the charts for granted, and maybe you miss something very, very small. And you can imagine that in the field of being a doctor or a surgeon, right? Well, with us, we miss something very, very small. Maybe we miss a trading opportunity. Maybe we have a stop loss in a bad place, right? There's always another trade that's going to come. Well, if you're a doctor or a surgeon, you miss something very, very small. There's someone's life in your hands. And the smallest mistake can, really result in death. And that's not something you want to do. So you always want to be as sharp as possible. And what he did was he decided to get himself a coach. He had someone just observe him while he was doing a common procedure. And he did the procedure, and the guy was sitting there, and he had all these notes taken. And, at the end of the day, he kind of talked to him, said, okay, thank you for watching me. Thank you for observing. What did you think? And the guy was like, well, overall, I thought you did a great job, right? You did everything by the book the way it's supposed to be done. However, I did notice a handful of small things. There was something like, hey, I noticed that your elbow dipped a little bit, or that your finger tightened a little bit here, a little bit there. And he just gave some advice. Hey, when you feel like your finger's tightening here, here's what you can do to kind of relax a little bit, or take a second to change tools, or this and that. I'm not big with the surgical talk, but it was very, very small things that would go unnoticed, right? Nothing with the procedure. Nothing with whatever the surgeon was doing, but little small things, how he's holding the instrument, how his feet were placed, right? The balance of his body, right? The light. I think one was like the light was swinging a little bit back and forth, and that created shadows that could do this, right? Very, very small things. And Atul he was grateful for really this compliment, this feedback, because it was things that he can work on to get better. It gave him kind of this newfound energy to keep improving. And he brought an example of kind of the first football game, right? The first football game was played between Yale and Harvard. And Harvard didn't have a coach and Yale did. And as they played these games, it was, Yale kept winning and Harvard wasn't winning. And Harvard decided, hey, we need to get a coach because there's something to this. And he talked about in his own experience that he said, great coaches are this, right? Great coaches are an extra source of eyes and ears, providing really a different view of your reality. And what I take that is you see yourself a certain way, but someone else may see you a little bit differently. It's very, very hard to critique yourself because you already hold yourself to a certain level. You already think you're doing this. You already think you're doing that. You already think you're good at that. You're bad at that. Where really an outside audit is the best way to get the truth because they're non-biased. They don't really care if you think you're good. They don't really care if you think they're bad. They're here to give you their non-biased opinion. And that's very helpful in finding out things that are wrong. And he went on to talk about teamwork, and he eventually brought it back to the hospitals in India. And he said they're working on projects right now where really they're getting coaches into those hospitals and really observing the doctors, seeing how the birthing process goes, and just providing very, very small insights on how things can get better. And since they've been doing that, they've seen just a massive result in, being able to have less deaths at birth, which is great. That number going from 1 out of every 20 to, I don't remember the exact number, but a lot lower, all because of these small, simple things. And it was cool to read because as a coach, right, and I mentioned that I always look for continued education anyway, I get that on a regular basis with our clients, and it's the fact that when we run live trading rooms, right, Jason Greystone and myself, we always say it's like we're trading in a glass house, right? You guys can see everything we do on a daily basis, and we're humans, right? So we have bad habits as well. Maybe sometimes we overlook something. Maybe sometimes we rush through. Maybe sometimes we have a certain emotion that causes us to do something that we shouldn't do, right? And what's cool is by having, right, the 50 or so outside observers each and every day, it's basically the same practice that the surgeon was doing, right? You guys are sitting and you're watching and you're watching. And maybe some of you guys that are new, you're not saying anything because obviously you're still in the learning process where you don't know what you don't know yet. But for the experienced traders in the room that are very familiar with our style, that really know how we trade and know what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing, you guys are very quick to point out when we miss something, or hey, why didn't you look at that? Or Akil, are you sure that closed beyond that level and not at it? And those small little tweaks, those small little kind of pokes, just like, hey, double check that. That has saved me a lot of money over the years, and I'm very grateful for that. So it's just pretty cool to be in a position where, yes, I'm a trading coach, but at the same time, I'm being coached in a way by the traders that I'm coaching. And I think that's what keeps this cycle of success going. I've seen a massive improvement in my trading, right? Just my breakdown of the markets since I've been teaching. And I've always tried to figure out why that is. And I always used to think it's just because of the repetition, just because I'm in the market doing this many times a day, doing these videos, I'm reanalyzing this and that. And I thought back and said, well, I was doing the same thing before I was coaching. Right before I was coaching, I had like 20 hours a day just to be on charts. So that's not it. And it took me the longest time to figure out what it was. And it was the external accountability. It was putting myself in a position where I have to follow my rules. I have to commit. I have to do something the right way, because if I don't, right, someone's going to let me know about it. And when I fall off, when I slip, right, when I fall off the wagon, going back to Jason Greystone's example, when he posts a picture of him eating a big piece of cake, right, someone's going to comment, hey, what about that diet, dude? Ah, yeah. Hey, Akil, what about that lower close? Ah, yeah, you're right about that. And sometimes that's all we need to get right back on track. So I thought it was a cool episode. As always, if you guys are new to the podcast, these things are completely random. I turn the mic on and I kind of just spew from the mouth, and sometimes it ends up being good, sometimes it ends up being bad, but you guys keep coming back each and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday to check it out. So my thought process is that it's more good than bad. So I hope you guys enjoy. As always, make sure you share the show. That is a big help. We're growing this podcast. It's catching steam and the train is rolling, but we don't want to allow that to stop. We want to keep putting fuel to the fire. So I need you guys to keep sharing it. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. We're on every podcasting app and platform out there, on Android, on Apple, we're on YouTube. If you don't like any podcast apps, there's no excuse for not watching this. And if you are new, subscribe, as I mentioned before. Also, give me a review. That is a massive help to the show. And just continue to spread the word about what we're doing. Lastly, if you are interested in some trading education, feel free to head over to www.tier1trading.com. You are always welcome. We have new trial members signing up each and every week. My advice is this: as soon as you sign up for the trial, right, get onto the chat, introduce yourself. Say, hey guys, Dan here. Just signed up for my trial membership today. Just want to say hello. Do you guys have any advice on what I should be doing? What's going to happen is you're going to get our seasoned vets are going to come in. They're going to welcome you, and they're just going to hold you accountable. They're going to make sure you don't rush through everything right away. They're going to make sure you're going through things the right way. They're going to make sure you have the right mindset about trading. And that's going to be that external accountability that you need to find success. So I appreciate you guys as always. I hope you guys have a great week. Thanksgiving is coming up soon, or maybe it just passed, depending on when this got released. But either way, I love you guys. I appreciate the support. We're doing big things here. I can't wait to tell you what's coming in 2019 from Tier 1 Trading. And it's just been an amazing experience in starting this podcast.